Good day, everyone. I am Katelyn Natalie Laurent, and this is the Summit Set podcast. Today, I have with me Mr. Henrik, who is the CEO and founder of TIBA Designs. So here we go. Mr. Henrik, how are we this morning?
Good morning. Fine, thank you. I'm fine. And you?
I am well. Now, I want to get into your company because I know that you specialize in innovative automotive design across land, sea, and air, which I think is wonderful because not very many companies are into all three. It's either they stick with either land or air.
Yes. For me, I have ADHD, ADHD in English, you have to translate. And for me, it's positive. It means that I use the energy that I get from that as a drive. I'm very well that I have it. By that, I can also focus on it. It means that the things I'm doing, I cannot do without a very big design team. So for this one here, it started a little bit with an old series called Beverly Hills 90210. I'm that old, yes. It means that when I saw this guy driving this Porsche 356, and I was like, Dylan McKay was his name. When I saw this car, I was like, wow, I want to have this car. But I was 20 years old. I was in the army, and I was in the army for many years. So I also realized I would never be able to have a car like that, never, ever. So one of the things I did was to look into how can I get this car? And since it is like 30 years ago, I was like, okay, the cars on the market today like this is well taken care of, but the price is very expensive. Then I stumbled over some guys who said, why don't you build your own car? And I was like, yeah, of course I can build my own car. So I start to look into how can I build my own car? And I sit together with my design team who at that moment make something else. We make energy, and we still make energy systems today. So I sit down with these guys and I asked them, I need your help with this. And they were like, yeah, okay. So we basically took a big block of foam, and then we took actually Dylan McKay's car into this program, and out come a CNC needle who then crafted this foam. And by that, I start making a line of hydrogen-based cars and electric vehicle cars based on 356 Porsche Speedster. It means that it's fantastic to see. It's fantastic to follow that process. It also means that we never will reach car number 1 million, never, ever, ever. But that was never the intention. The intention was to make one for me. So by doing this, we also realized that we probably stumbled over a niche market where we have to have something nobody else has. And since I am the energy guy, I am the green guy, everything I do is green, everything I create and use is green, or have to be as green as possible. It means that for this one here, I was also aware that when I build it in fiberglass and other carbon materials, it have to be sustainable. So by that, we created a system where we can break down the molecules of the fiberglass and actually reuse it as gas. And by that gas, we can actually extract the CO2 from it and other gases from it, and then use it for methanol production. So this one started a chain reaction. So today we have a company who makes fuel out of garbage. That means I take plastic, I take all wind blades from our own wind turbine production, who one way or another ended at the scrapyard. We take other fiberglass components, we take plastic components, and then we shred it, put it into a system where at the end actually gasoline comes out. And the gasoline who comes out is called methanol, and it's 100% green. It also means that along that process, I needed the energy that I'm making today, where we make green energy to make the fuel for the hydrogen and the methanol for the propulsion. So this is where it all started. And by that, it took me to a journey where I was like, wow, I think we can go further. And one of the things of go further was that, again, it's started with a dialogue with one of my partners, and he was saying, okay, if you are so innovative, why don't we make something where we take up space under the water where nobody else had this? And I was like, what do you mean? You mean like building a house under the water? And he was like, yeah, why not? And then we talked about when we were young, there was a movie called Nautilus with Captain Nemo, a guy who lived under the water, and his grandchildren come, and I was like, yeah, okay, it's not going to be spacey like that, but we have to look into how can we do it without being just a bunch of idiots who just want to have a room in the water. So we came up with a few ideas, and one of the ideas was a submarine. And this is actually what brought me to your interview today. We built a submarine who is for family. It has no weapons. It's only 7 meters long, diameter 140. And it's very light because it's made in fiberglass and carbon. By that, it cannot go down to more than 20 meters. But since I've been diving a lot in my life, I also aware that most of the things we want to see is about 10, 15 meters down in the ocean. So I was like, okay, we can live with that. So the idea was that we basically build a submarine where you go like a picnic. So you take the submarine, you take your wife, you take your children into the submarine, and then you tour around where you want to see things and do things. Since it have a CO2 scrubber inside, we can actually sit in it like we're sitting now and talking. We don't need to have a limited time of 45 minutes. I can go up after 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours if I want to, without having any issues or any problems. So that part became like, wow, we have tumbled over something that not many people have. I have to admit that. And I have a lawyer, actually in San Francisco, who said to me, Henrik, this one here for the American market, we need to have this. We need to have it because in San Francisco, if you go out there, there's a great white shark and you probably eat it. But if you actually go to the Keys, you have thousands of small islands, you have shipwrecks, you have everything. People love it. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's look into this. So this became our second product. It became a product where we wanted to give people an adventure that nobody else had. So actually today we have 4 submarines. And this makes things very different. It's very different. It's like having a small speedboat. Instead of just going out fishing, getting sunburned, we actually go down and see the fish, but without the suntan. By this, we get a telephone call from a defense industry, saying that you are aware that what you have built is something that many countries would like to have. And I was like, for what? And they were saying, you built a submarine. I said, yeah, it's not a submarine like that. It don't have any weapons. I don't even have a periscope. I have plexiglass, so I actually can see out all the way around. And they said, but you build something that can travel under the water, who is very hard to detect because it's made out of the material you made. So from that, we would like you to make a test. So just recently, we changed our production of the submarine into defense, because everywhere in the world there's basically wars, and people want to monitor and control the borders in the water. So this company said, if you look into an American company called Boring, they make airplanes. And I was like, yeah, I know them. I fly with them a lot. And they said, actually, they make submarines also. And I was like, really? Did not know that. Exactly. Not many people knew that. So I was like, I have to look into that. So again, my disease took me to that part. So I just, instead of sleeping at night, I just go in and Google and read. And then I could see that they actually make submarines for defense. And I was like, wow. But I could also see that they were going very deep, and they were doing many things with this one. And I was like, I don't want my brain to develop something that can help kill people. It's not who I am. So I was like, no, let these guys do that. But we signed an agreement with this defense company, saying that we will build the shell, the hull of the submarines. We will build the submarines so they run on hydrogen and a backup in electricity. And by that, they can equip the systems with whatever they want, and then they can rename it and rebrand it. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'm okay with that, because it's a little bit with Toyota. Toyota built Hilux cars, and the Hilux cars are the preferred car in many areas where you have war. So the local tribes, they put a machine gun or a rocket launcher or something on the Hilux. You cannot blame Toyota for that, because Toyota built a car who can take merchandise from A to B. So I was okay by building a hull, a submarine who works and go to the spec that we had, and then if they want to equip it with something else, it's up to them. So from that, it gave us the third, and in this case here, the last product. They said if we were interested in looking into building a drone, I have to push something here. Yes, by building a drone who can fly. And I was like, you can go to Alibaba, you can buy a drone for 100 ringgit. And they said, it's not that kind of drone. We want a big drone, a drone who can carry something. And I was like, come on, you looking into using it as a weapon. They said, of course, we are a defense company. It means that we do this. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's look into it. So again, we put in the design group. We talked about this. Some of the designers was like, okay, we have to have some restrictions where this drone can be used. And I was like, let me hear why. And they said, some of the designers are Muslim, and I respect that. They're good designers. They are just having a different religion. So they said, sorry, we cannot have it goes against this. And I was like, okay, I will speak with this defense company. The defense company said, sorry, you cannot dictate who will buy this product. I said, sorry, then we have to pull out of that, because for me, if people have a target to use this drone for something specific and against a specific kind of people, I'm like, no way. And when my own staff said, sorry, boss, we cannot do this. This is haram. You can't. And I was like, yeah, okay. So we actually pulled away from that defense company. And they were like, okay, we take your submarines, but the drones, no. And I was like, no, it's either this or this. And then there was like, really, you're gonna walk away from orders like this? I said it was never about the money. It was not. It's not. I'm a normal guy. Maybe I have a little bit more than not. So it was more like it started with something fun. It started with to take me in a direction where people want to explore the possibilities of doing something. And then at the end, it ended with that to go against a lot of things that I actually stand for. And I was like, no, let's change this perspective. So we have the drone, we have the submarine, we have the car. Like I said, we still have 4 submarines on stock. We still have 2 drones on stock. Things like this. It's like it became a good idea, a great idea. It became a business adventure without the business, because these people here, they said, we want to use it against this. Like, come on, it's not what my education is for. It's not. So I turn into the private sector, the private market, saying, guys, I need your help. Somebody wants to buy my submarine. Somebody wants to buy this and this. You can use it for this purpose. You can use it for this. And then I met the guy who introduced me to you. And he said, actually, let's try to take it that way. And by that, we try to push the restart button by going this way. Because if people wish to use it like I was okay with, then they can equip it with something. But to build an aircraft who directly attacks people, and maybe the people that don't deserve it because of political or similar things, I was like, no way, it's not going to happen. It's not going to be. So this is where we are now. It means that, yes, I have the items on stock. I have it, everything. I would like to sell it because it's hundreds of millions of Malaysian ringgit on stock, which is a lot for me. But it also means that at the end of the day, I believe we should all contribute to something. And since everything is built in the green way, it's a little bit paradox that I have a drone who fly on hydrogen. I have a submarine who drives on hydrogen. I have a car who drives on hydrogen. I produce the hydrogen myself with energy that I produce myself from my own energy systems, and it's not solar. I storage the energy I produce when I have enough hydrogen. The water I use, I take it from the surface of the streets, and then I filter it and I push it through a lot of systems to get the best of the best water quality for hydrogen. So it means that I've done everything in the correct way, but I don't want my products to be, wow, I'm going out to kill people in the correct way. It's not, because who am I or who are those who buy it to say, okay, you have to kill this group, this group, this group. And I'm like, no way, no way. It's you can use it as defense. It means that if people attack you, you're okay to do something, but to just make it directly as a strike weapon, it's not the way it was intended. So this is where we are now.
Now, when it comes to it, say, for instance, you have someone that's interested in buying either an aircraft of yours or submarine or a drone of yours. Do you do like an extensive background check to make sure that they don't want to use it for crime?
KYC.
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, it's about 2 months ago, we had a guy from a country in the Middle East who said, I want to buy your submarine. And I said, that's okay. Can I have your company details? And he said, we will pay in cash. When the moment people say we will pay in cash, I was like, really? Cash? To have, in this case here, $16 million in cash would be like, wow. But the other part of me, the normal part of me was like, really? Who the hell have 16 million in cash?
That's a very good question to ask because
so I was like, okay, can I have the company name? No, there's no company. I said, how you want it to be delivered? Oh, we can ship it to somewhere and then you can sail it. And I was like, okay, I could, but it's not how it works. And he said, then explain how can we do this? And I was like, already inside of me, I was like, no. But the guy keep pushing, and he said, come on, I need this. But I could hear that he wanted for something, and I was like, no way. So he get angry, and I was like, yeah, it's okay. Since I haven't sold him anything, I could also understand the anger in him because I believe he promised somebody to buy it and do something. But since the KYC is know your client, it's like, I did not know the guy. He was very pushy, and when people pay cash and in the area of the world he was in, I was like, no way, because a big part of me will probably be like, you're gonna use it against a country who's in a conflict at the moment, and they are on the upper side, and his brothers is probably on the downside. So I was like, no, it's not my war. It's not the intention of this. So yeah, this is how it is. So yes, I do background check. I do everything. We have another client that I actually put through our own KYC also. And by that, I couldn't find anything. So I actually called Army Intelligence in Denmark and asked them for help. And I said, I know that it's many years ago I was in the Army and with your guys, but I need your help because this guy wants to buy. And they said, okay, what do you have on him? I have this and this. And they said, we have to give it into police intelligence. And I said, okay, give it and then give me an answer. Then they came back and say, actually, there's no trace of this guy. Nobody knows this guy. It's a post office. It's a rented unit. And I was like, yeah, okay, bye-bye. So it means that we have something that many people want. We have something that was built for fun and pleasure. We have something that was trying to assist, not to make it a nightmare. So for this one here, yes, the KYC is very important.
It definitely is, especially when it comes to something that you have put your heart and soul into. Now, I also want to know what made this may sound like a very, very strange and odd question, but because of the world that we live in, what made you want to pretty much lead like a green life?
I work on a daily basis, 10 hours, 12 hours every day at my office, where we produce wind turbines. We produce storage of energy that is being produced but not used. That was actually how, for me, the green life really started. Because we produce energy from coal power plants, oil plants, gas turbines, wind turbines, solar, biomass, waste to energy. But we produce way too much energy, way too much. And when we produce way too much energy, why do we keep producing again and again and again? But we don't seem to have storage. But I also find out that storage is not lithium. It's not children who goes into coal mines in DR Congo. It's not people who live like slaves in north of China to produce solar panels. So we came up with, why don't we storage the energy in air and in water? Why don't we storage the energy in hot salt and stones? So I actually hold 7 patent rights for making energy and producing energy. So I never left it. Like I said, that the car started like, wow, I would like to have that car. But when I was young, I didn't have that money. Now, yes, I could afford one, but the cars who's on the market it's not what I saw this Dylan guy. So I was like, okay, let's try it ourselves. So one thing led to the next, and then we use the technology we have today for the green energy, for what we're doing. I find it fascinating to storage energy in large scale. I find it fascinating to use the energy more than one time. I know there will be people who say, oh, you cannot do that. Come on, we do it in a steam turbine every day. The marine vessels who enter into the bay, New York, San Francisco, whatever, they use the energy again and again. They just have to heat it up, so they don't need so much energy to make it run again. It's just, we change it into not a marine life, not a maritime life, but into a life where people can store its energy in a smart way, and then use it again and again and again.
You have the submarines, the drones, aircraft, and you also have an electric motorcycle.
Ah, yeah. I forgot about it.
Tell us.
I forgot about my Neo. Yes.
I would like to know more about your electric motorcycle, because I have been on a few bikes in my days. I personally don't own any except for a bicycle, but as far as motorcycles go, I have been a passenger on them, and like the dirt bikes and things. So yeah, what made you want to get into like the whole motorcycle and electric motorcycles?
Okay, my son. Um, my son and I watched Batman Begins.
Great movie.
Yeah, it actually is. And my son was like, "Wow, Dad, can we make one of this?" And I was like, "Why you ask me something like this?" And my wife looked at me and she was like, "Yeah, I know what's gonna happen now." So I asked him. I said, "Do you really want a motorbike?" And he said, "I'm not big enough." He's only 7 years old. So actually the bike is the last one on this we made. So he said, "I'm only 7 years old," and I was like, "Yeah, okay." So he wanted a Batman bike, and I was like, "How the hell do I build a motorbike?" And again, I was like, "It have to be green. It have to." So I said to him, "You want it to be a battery?" And he said, "I don't want it to be like the one I have outside. They have a car who costs $200, and then you have a battery can go like this." He said, "I want a real one." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." I sit down with a pen and paper. I doodle a lot. So I doodled this, and it became a Batman motorcycle. So I hope the producers of Batman Begins is not watching, but I actually steal a few ideas from the design, and by that I built. And then I went to our blacksmiths and say, "Can you make a frame?" And they look at me, "For what?" I said, "I need a frame." And they said, "We need to have a stand. We need to have a balance." And I was like, "Don't we have that?" They said, "We don't have a balance machine." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, how much?" And we find one in China. So I was like, "Yeah, okay." So we built the first model of an adult motorbike. It's called Neo. It's a battery driven. It drives very fast. It comes with a design like Batman. It means that Batman, he can change features. So my wife came up with the idea that you cannot push a button and then it changes colors. Only BMW can do that. And I was like, "Yeah, okay, So how do we do? My wife said, why don't you make a system where you click on these features on the Batman? And I was like, explain. And she said, you take out the side shield in black, and then you put in the same side shield now in red. So when I'm riding it and I'm having a red dress, I'm having a red side. And I was like, that's smart. So this Neo bike actually comes in a standard color of black, and then it have 3 colors that people can choose. It means that you can, if you're going out on a date and you're saying to your boyfriend, today I'm wearing pink. So make sure the bike have pink features. So these side seats are made so you can just click it on and off, and then you lock them, and then it changes colors. So it was like this. And when my son saw it and I put him on the bike, he was like, Batman. And I was like, yeah, okay. So yes, I forgot the Neo. Sorry for that. But the Neo are now in the process with Malaysian authorities where to get it registered to drive on the car, on the street. It means that it will become a little bit like the car. It will be collector's item. It will be for the few. We have a plan of making number 3 of the Neo as hydrogen. Again, because we believe that it have to be green, it have to be a little bit different. Some issues by storing enough hydrogen. It means we need to compress it more. We are actually up at nearly 400 bars in the tanks that we are using. But the tanks are not very big, and it can only go a few hundred kilometers. We wanted to go further. But I believe in the future we can solve that challenge. We can solve it. Okay.
Now, do you have any upcoming projects or innovations that you're excited about?
Like we started here, we built a house under the water. The acrylic windows are actually finished. I went to the production area yesterday. It's a subcontractor. They are UV light gluing it yesterday. It means that it's a little bit when you go into an aquarium and they ask you to go under the aquarium. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of pieces of acrylic who is put together, glued together, and then polished. So the structure is very strong. So in this case here, the structure is 28 millimeter in thickness. So we built a deck where you can sit and barbecue, you can enjoy, you can whatever on the deck. So when you want to go into a private area or cooler area, you actually go below. And when you go below, you actually step into Nautilus, this old guy who live under the water. You step into his world. It means that you step into a living room where you have everything, but everywhere around it is these glass. So you sit, you look out. Of course, this area have limitations. I cannot make it 20 meter by 10 meters. No, I can't. This one here is 3.5 meter by 4 meter. And then it's 220 in height. It means that it's a small tram. You can move around because it have a small engine. So you can go have lunch with Nemo or his friends, and then you go back. This one is, again, it's a toy. It's something that creativity takes us to another level. So it's a submarine. It's just a submarine who will never dive. It's just you go below with your friends, you sit there and have cocktails and enjoy life. Like I said, I visit the acrylic unit yesterday. Within a month or two, it's actually done. And then, we have to find an area around here where there are sea turtles AUKUS or something, and then we just take it out for a spin.
So what you're working on, you're doing it in phases. Is that the gist of it?
Since one thing is when you design something.
Right.
Thing is when you design something. When you design something, you sit with pen and paper. You can design anything. It's just a matter of how the lines do. But when it comes to physics and it comes to how do things work together, how does the pressure under the water works? It means that in this case here, for instance, the submarine, we built the submarine, we doodle the submarine, we put it into all kind of programs who did the calculation. So when we were actually done, we built a pressure chamber because we didn't want to put people inside the submarine without knowing, can it actually go down to the depth that we wanted to? So we built a huge chamber where we put the submarine in, we put the water in, and then we seal it, and then we pump in air up to a certain amount of bar. And then we was like, fingers crossed, let's hope it doesn't collapse. And it didn't. And I was like, woo, actually the calculation is correct. So the thing is when you design something, you design the first, and then number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Normally I use Steve Jobs as an example. I never know him. I was not a big fan of his phone because I had Nokia phone before. The one you can open and you can send email, you can use it. And I was like, wow, that one worked. So when I actually heard about these smartphones, I was like, I helped HTC to develop some of their platforms for the Middle East. And I was like, that's okay. But when I saw how he built it, that the smartphones didn't work. The first model was a model, it could only do that. The second could do that. And then he had, I think, 19 models in front of him. So when I watched the movie and I saw that it was actually correct, they couldn't combine all these things together. They'd have to wait about 8 or 9 months before they could, but they needed to present it because they want to be the first. So it also for me is that when you build version 1, of course there will be a version 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have in our energy systems, we have version 20 for some of our items because along the way we learn when clients buy our energy systems, they're like, oh, it's cold up here. For instance, we sold the system to Canada and the guy was like, you are aware that it's minus 30 degrees? No. So you need to change the liquid. And I was like, yeah, okay, I can see that. So we changed that. By that, the viscosity of the liquid was heavy. So we also need to change how the sensors and everything work. So we just make a new version. It's the same product, it's just a new version. So same with this one here. We build one, we take it from Doodle, we come up with the model. When the model is out, we run it, and then we actually be like, how do we need to change it? And then we change it to make it better, to perfection. We don't change it because it doesn't work, because actually all of them work the first time. But we changed it to be better. It means that I'm okay with having a version who is version 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as long as the basic principles, for instance, of the car is there. Now we just need to change it. How can we make it more safe? How can we make it better? So when the air goes under the unit, it doesn't make a noise. Things like that. There's always room for improvement, always.
There is always room for improvement. Now, do you plan to expand into other industries? I mean, I don't even know if that's possible for you because it seems like you are in plenty of industries as it is.
Yeah. No, because it's with one of my partners. He asked me, "Can you put pencil down a little bit?" And I was like, "I'm 60 years old. Yes, I can put the pencil down because I don't want to make a new Tesla factory. It's not in my blood. I find it's not so good. I know you Americans think different, but I think he's going the wrong way. He's using his talent for something else. So I was like, yeah, okay. So I don't want to make millions of cars. I don't want to make millions of drones. I don't want to make millions of submarines. You can only use so much money. It's if you're the richest man in the world, what are you going to use the money for? Come on. I read about this Amazon guy or whatever it is, who is having a wedding for 600 million. And I was like, you're having a wedding for 600 million, it lasts 4 days. If that was me, I would have the wedding. I would not spend 600 million, but if the budget was 600, I don't have that money. But if it was, then I will take 300 million for the wedding. I'm sure my wife would be like, wow, still. And then I will take food, medicine, everything, build shelters, build orphanage, build everything, because I already support a lot of orphanage. I already support a lot of football teams for people who have nothing. So I will take the 300 for that. Then my legacy will be that people will be, wow, that's a good guy. And this is why that I don't want to expand further. I don't want to make things like, wow, now we make a line of production for exactly this to make millions of this. No, because cost X amount. You have on the American market today one drone who is similar like ours, who costs 21 million US dollar for an electric motor on wings. Come on. Ours don't cost that, but that's it. We have a submarine who cannot go down to 3,000 meters, 2,000 meters. It can only go down, it have a limitation 70 meters. It's tested for that. So for that, you're buying something for about 13 million. It's like, it's enough. You have enough. There's also a limitation how many submarines can be in the ocean. It's like, yeah, it's like that. So no, I don't want to expand further. I have enough. I have what I have. It's enough.
What you have, and that's enough. That is, you know what, for someone like you to come out and say that you're happy with what you have, it's a huge eye opener, because most people, it's how can I build on? How can I add more to what I'm doing?
I can add on to the things I have. I can improve them. I can make them better. But to build a larger submarine, to build a larger airplane, come on, I can never compete with the companies who's already on the market, and I don't want to. If I see how some of the companies today, they are struggling, just minor mistakes, then you get on the front page that the airplanes fall down from the sky. It's like, come on, money is not everything. It's good to have, but money is not everything. There is a limit of what you want to do.
No, there is. No, when you talk about the planes and how you had spoken with Boeing, would you ever help out Boeing with their planes? Because I have read and have seen in the news that they have been having plenty of issues with their planes.
Yes, exactly. If they call me and say, hey, can you help us? Yes, of course I will. When this defense industry from a NATO country called me and said, we would like to see a presentation of your submarine. And I was like, yeah, of course. Because it's a NATO country, I know the country. They are like, yeah, okay, we would like to have it to monitor and surveillance. And I was like, yeah, why not? And instantly they said, we need to change it because of this or this. Yes, can. So if Boeing called me and said, we're having issues with this and this, yeah. If they need a small guy like me to assist them, maybe they have bigger issues than they think, but also sometimes it helps to have a person from outside to look in and say, here is your issue, here is your problem. So it's not about that I will be like, no, I don't want to assist, I don't want to help anything. When you're having this disease as I'm having, you rarely sleep, you basically always work. your brain always works. I always doodle. I always Google. If I open my iPad now, my guesses are maybe on 200 pages who's open, because it's like, wow, I can go forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. And I can focus. It means that it's not many people who can do this. It's really multitasking on a different level. But if you ask me to do something else, do the chores in the house like that, I actually try to put it into a system so I can get maximum out of very little time. And sometimes my wife is happy because like you do the dishes, you do walk the dog, you do the laundry, you do everything, and it's only in 1 hour. It's like, yeah, because I can see the machine do it, this machine do it, and then the dog and I do exercise, and that's it. So I'm good at focusing, extremely good, and look into things. So if somebody called and said, "Oh, can you help us with that?" Yeah.
Now, being that you have ADHD, what would be the best advice you can give to others that suffer from ADHD? Because I know it's a very it's I don't want to say it's common, but it's widely known. And I know there are times where there have been people that have been misdiagnosed. They, have the signs and the symptoms of ADHD, and of course the
thing
doctor's
is,
like, no, you don't have that.
I used to joke when I was in school, first class, second, third class. At that time, because I'm that old, you didn't have advanced classes. You didn't have that. I normally make a joke and say they make these classes because of me. Because I could not focus. I could not focus in the class when they say, "Henrik, can you spell the alphabet?" And I was like, no. Inside my head, I could. But because they want me to do it now, the focus, I was like, sorry, I can't. And then they was like, "Oh, you're stupid." And I was like, maybe I'm not that smart. And I was like, But when I came home and my grandfather said, "Here's some wood, here's some nails, here's a saw, a hammer," then I built something, and he was like, "Wow, maybe you're not that stupid." So it was just later on in life that somebody said to me, "I think you have an issue." And I was like, "With what?" And they said, "You're full of energy. I run a marathon in army boots and battle pants." And people was like, "Why you do that?" Actually, because I can. So it's a little bit like you have to control the focus. And one of the things I control the focus with is something that hurts. So for this one, if I need to focus, I put it on my finger. It sounds strange, but this is how I do. I put it on my finger. I can also put a rubber band. Actually, I have one on the other hand. I put a rubber band, and then when I want to focus, I snap it. Because for me, it's how I deal with it. So my advice to people: find a way to do it. I believe people who have this kind of, it's not a disease, but this kind of a gift, if they can control it, it is a gift. Look at Elon Musk. Sorry, look at him. It's a huge gift. If you look at me, that's how many people build their own car, their own airplane, their own submarine, their own motorbike, build energy systems that basically can store its energy without harming the environment. It's like you just need to focus, and then you need to have, in my case, 2 assistants. I have 2 assistants. One assistant is doing one part, and another system is doing another part, and their only job is to service me. It's wrong, but it's how it is. It means that my one assistant, when I said to him, "Sorry, I need to pick up my son from this and this and this, but I don't have the time now. Can you go pick up my son?" So he's like, "Yeah, okay." So he's cleared to pick up my son at this private school. The other person I have a homosexual assistant, a lady, and being in a Muslim country, it's very hard for her, very hard, extremely hard. But she's like my boss protect me, and yes, I protect her. So for her, I'd be like, okay, I need to have a meeting with this minister. I need to have a meeting with this. I need to set up with these guys. So she Googles, she finds. So she is me without the disease, without the rubber band, without this one. So for me to get as many things done during a day, a week, a month, you need to have assistance for you because you are always on overdrive. I text her 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. I already texted her this morning, like, hey, I'm having this meeting here now. So when you wake up, look into that. And so to have a success with what you do, make people aware around you that you have it. Then they understand why you have this rubber band. You understand why you have a clip. They understand why you use pencil. Why don't you use Apple pen? No, I like pen and paper. It's how it is. It's how it works for me.
A pen and paper type of person as well, but that's because that's going back on how my education was when I was in school. Granted, I'm not anywhere close to the age that you are, but in my generation of school, everything was done pencil and paper. We didn't have, we didn't have laptops or tablets that we could carry around with us. We had the big, huge jumbo desktop computer with dial-up internet, where we had to ask our parents if it was okay if we went on the internet because that tied into the house phone. So it's if I needed to do research and I couldn't use the internet at home, I was going to the library and pulling out encyclopedias, stacked this high and bringing it over to the table to do my research for school. I think when I was in middle school, I was gifted with a typewriter so that I could
Wow. Yeah.
type up my book reports and my science projects because we did have a printer, but it was my reports were like pages and pages, and my grandparents were like, you're not using up all of our toner ink, like that's not happening. So that's how I got a typewriter.
Okay. Yeah, a typewriter is it's good. I joined the classes at my school, and we have this machine, tick, 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 and every time we go tick, we have to tick, tick, tick. Things like that is an evolution. It's a little bit about what we talk about. You have a first version. The first version is pen and paper. The second version is click, 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 click. Then IBM came out with electronic and actually have this ball. And then this IBM computer came out and you are carrying a suitcase. So it's an evolution. If I see today that, yes, I have an Apple Watch, my Apple Watch can do many things. You can do everything today online, but there are still people like me who still do pen and paper. I doodle. I know exactly where my papers are. My son knows, don't touch daddy's papers because they are in a line of order. And he don't do it. It's a little bit harder with my youngest daughter because all paper, color, and it's like, but the thing is that it's an evolution, and we can do everything on a laptop today. We can find everything on an iPad or a tablet today. It's amazing how the evolution have come, and this is a little bit of what I'm doing. We have the first model of this, and then we build it, and then we move it forward. It's okay. It's okay. This is how the world is created, just very fast, very fast.
It is coming very, very fast. Technology has definitely advanced tremendously, and especially with having AI out there, it's
AI is good, but it's also dangerous.
Yes.
Because AI come from somewhere. It means that people who do the programming, they can manipulate you. As I see it, they can guide you in the correct way, but they can also misguide you. It means that AI is perfect and you can use AI for many things. It's just sometimes we have to think, we have to use our common sense. We still have to use our common sense. We cannot say, oh, the computer say no, what do your brain say? What does your gut feeling say? What does the inner voice in you say? Is it correct to walk over red lights and then scold the people when they actually have to brake? No, it's like we have to see things from a normal perspective. We cannot just say that the artificial intelligence is taking over our daily life. It is. I have robot cleaners. I have robot everything. It's just that we still need to think. We still need to manage our brain. We still need to.
I use AI, like I have ChatGPT on my computer, and I will use it to where if I'm just, my brain's going a million miles per minute, and I'll just pretty much vomit, I call it vomit, words into ChatGPT, and it'll help me with having it make sense before I go and I talk to other people, because I know if I just start rambling, I'm gonna have people sitting there, looking at me going, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, they're good, they're bad. Of course, it's just that people still need to think. People still need to use their brain. If you stop using your creativity in life, basically the machine will take over and we will probably die within getting bored. I still encourage my children to go out and play, to jump in the trampoline, to swim in the pool, to build something with wood and hammer. My son loves it. My daughter is like, oh, okay, you want me to dong, dong, dong? Okay, I do that. But I also see when my son come and he said, oh, can we go to the factory? I want to help to make this. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So we go to the factory where we have a plasma cutter. And then he give this drawing to Suhail, and it's like, Suhail, just look at me, and I'd be like, yes. And then he because he saw this movie with this cartoon who throw this like a kung fu star. So he was like, oh, I want to design one. So he gave it to Suhail to cut it out in iron. And then we go to the galvanization section we have, and then they galvanized it. And my son was like, wow. But the thing is, this comes from being creative. It's better than just watching iPad. It's much better. It's much better. So we still have to use our brain. We cannot just say that let's artificial intelligence take over our life and at 10 o'clock it shuts down and we have to sleep. No, the brain shuts down when it's tired, and from that it comes from something you do with your hands, your body.
Great. I want to thank you for your time today, Mr. Henrik.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Learning so much about you and how your brain operates and your creative process and everything that you have, you've pretty much made what you've put on paper come to life. And I find huge inspiration in that, because that's a driving force for anybody out there, saying that you don't just have to stick to it where it's just on paper. If you have the right team,
it's everything.
You can make it come to fruition and have it come to life. Again, I want to thank you for your time today, and I look forward to continuing to hear about how you are improving your products that you have. Again, it was wonderful. And is there anything else that you would like to share with the viewers?
No. Just believe in yourself. Nike have an expression, just do it.
Do it.
Sorry. It's a great expression, because just do it. Many people is like, wow, I want to build this car with 4 wheels we steal from a stroller and then we drive it with strings. Come on, just do it. If people want to do that, they want to try that, just do it. Things you don't need to be rich to do things. Start in a smaller scale. If you have a good idea, then change the scale to become larger, and then you have a submarine, then you have an airplane. Change the way you see things, the way you do things. There is a way for everything. There's a way. And besides this, it's okay to fail. Many people I used to lecture in how failure works. and people was like, are you a failure? I said, basically I am. Because when I fail, I learn from my mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
When I learn from my mistakes, I actually create something better. And this is why when the car is put through simulations and everything, yes, we have a car, it works, it can drive, it can go left and right, it have sensors and everything. But there's still room for improvement. And if something snaps or whatever it is, that just change it. It's okay to fail. But most people, they are so damn afraid of failing. Oh, people laugh at us and, oh, we told you so. Who do you think you are? Actually, I'm nobody. I'm just a guy with a passion of building things. So if we fail, it's okay to fail.
But in order to fail, that's how you succeed in life. So
Exactly. And this is why that people have to see that it's okay to fail. It's where we are. I love movies. I love old movies. There's a movie called Hidden Numbers about NASA. Hidden Numbers is about how NASA was beaten by the Russians of sending something into direction of the moon. So when I see that you are having people who is very good at calculation, who's very good at numbers, you're having people who's very good at sketching, and yet it still fails. At the end of the day, they succeed. NASA is what NASA is today. We have Velcro zippers because of NASA. We have run-down tires who don't puncture because of NASA. It means that NASA failed when the Apollo exploded, when the spaceship exploded. NASA failed. They learned from it. And still we are sending things up. It means that we have to start somewhere. And the movie Hidden Numbers, it starts somewhere. It's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, it's Kevin Costner. If you haven't seen it, it's really like, wow, we actually come a long way. So it's okay to fail. It's okay to not have all the answers, because when you start on a journey, the answers will come. The answers will speak to you. They will come with a solution. Why don't you do that? Why don't you do that? It's like, how did that happen? Because you start something, and from that, it actually creates something. So at the end of this, it will give you the answer automatically. It will.
definitely have to check out that movie, Hitting Numbers.
Hidden Numbers, it's a great movie. Believe me, you will. The moment you see it, it will be like, really? It's just a racist movie. No, it's not. It is a racist movie. It is. But it's about a group of engineers who nobody took for granted, and suddenly they were the reason why NASA is NASA today. It's great. It's really a great movie, and it's real. And when you, especially a person like you with an education background on journalism, when you finish this movie, my guess is you will Google who are these 4 people inside, and then you will see it's real, and then you will be, yes, because it's a great movie, and it's not fiction, it's not anything. It's how things was actually done, and how IBM was built by NASA, how IBM was created by personal computers. They called people, we need a computer. I was like, what they're talking about? You bring a lady with a notebook, and then she was a computer. She was pen and paper. It's a great movie. You have to see it. You have to see it. Okay.
I will definitely check it out. And that's funny that you say looking up, who the movie was based off of after you're watching it. I actually am the opposite. I look up who the movie's based off of before I watch it, because I feel
Okay.
like it just gives me more
Insight in the movie.
yeah, it actually makes me want to like enjoy it more than me sitting there and going,
okay, then Google Hidden
what's
Numbers,
this?
and then you will see a movie who will come out, and you will be, damn, I want to watch it. You can, I don't know where you can find it. I don't know what search you have. I don't think Netflix have it, but
That's what Google's for. Google's great at telling us where we can find movies to stream.
Just Google it, and you will be amazed. I'm 100% sure that you will be like, wow, I have to see this movie, because the background behind it is who NASA and who IBM are today. It's who we are. It's who computers are today, and it's fantastic. It's a great movie.
I will definitely check it out. I want to thank you again for
You're welcome.
being a part of the Summit Sessions podcast, and you have a wonderful morning.
Thank you. It's 6 o'clock. So yes, thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
everyone. That concludes the Summit Sessions podcast. I'm your host, Katelyn Natalie Laurent. You all have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.